have to finish the row.
I have 7:30. Good evening and welcome to the Bonner Springs City Council meeting. If you'd all like to please stand with me and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, then remain standing for the invocation this evening brought by Pastor Flanoy. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eternal God and kind Father, we humbly bow our heads thanking you so much for the benefits and blessing you bestowed upon us. Now we ask that your loving kindness and your prudence and your wisdom shower down and rest rule over this meeting on tonight's City Council meeting, starting with our mayor and the City Council members and their assistants, our police department, our fire department, first responders, the financial team, and the recreation team. Lord, we love you. We ask your blessings over every decision, over every plan that we make on tonight, and it will be acceptable in your sight. Lord, teach us to love one another and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. It's a high privilege and great honor for me to announce the special recognition that we'll be having here at the beginning of our meeting. And I'd like to introduce retired Brigadier General Turner, Director of the Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs, and the retired Lieutenant Colonel Rob Light, Director of Operations for the Kansas Commission on Veteran Affairs. Gentlemen.
Good evening. On behalf of our Director of the Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs Office, Brigadier General Retired Bill Turner, thank you for allowing our office to participate in this special ceremony. My name is Rob Light, the Director of Operations for the Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs. Thank you to Representative Thompson and the Bonner Springs County Council for the invitation and to be part of this very special ceremony. And a very special thank you to Ms. Melva Jarrett and your family for allowing us to be part of this as we honor a hero, a U.S. Army veteran, Sergeant Jarrett. I'd also like to welcome Leader Croft, Representative Proctor, Representative Ellis, members of the VFW, Post 6401, and Colonel Retired Kelly representing MOAA. And for anybody else I missed, I apologize. The Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs Office is charged with the mission to honor the nearly 190,000 veterans that call Kansas home by assisting them and their families with navigating through the network of state and federal veteran benefits, being their advocates, and ensuring they receive the benefits to which they are entitled. We do this at the Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs by managing and operating 2 state veterans homes, one located in Fort Dodge and the other one in Winfield, operating 4 state veteran cemetery in Manhattan, Fort Dodge, Waukene, and Winfield, and a team of veteran service representatives and veteran service organizations located around the state to assist veterans and their family members. This evening, we honor Sergeant Jarrett, who served this country with honor, pride, and courage during a difficult period in our nation's history, the Vietnam War era. Unfortunately, a welcome home and closure were not available to many of our Vietnam veterans. We are here tonight to remind ourselves of truths we have heard many times before, that freedom isn't free, and that, in the words of Winston Churchill, a nation that does not honor its heroes will soon have no heroes to honor. The Kansas Vietnam-era Medallion Program was signed into law in 2009 and provides the Vietnam-era medallion, medal, and certificate. The design for the medal and medallion was selected as the best representation of those veterans who served during this period of service. Since the program started, the Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs has awarded over 8,500 medallions, medals, and certificates to Kansas veterans. Now I would like to invite Gerald Turner and Representative Thompson forward, and Ms. Jarrett, please. At this time, I would like to read the Certificate of Appreciation recognizing Sergeant Jerry Jarrett and presented to Miss Melva Jarrett by Representative Thompson and General Turner. The State of Kansas Certificate of Achievement awarded to Jerry Jarrett, Branch of Service, U.S. Army, for your service in the Armed Forces of the United States. On behalf of the citizens of Kansas and a grateful nation, I would like to extend to you our personal thanks and sincere appreciation for your contribution of honorable service to your country. Your service during the Vietnam War era helped maintain the security of a nation during this critical time in our history. The devotion to duty and spirit of self-sacrifice of our Vietnam veterans was in proud keeping of the traditions of all who choose military service. It is with great pride the state of Kansas recognizes your service during the Vietnam War and awards you the Kansas Vietnam Medallion, Medal, and Certificate. Signed, Laura Kelly, Governor, State of Kansas. General Turner is also presenting Ms. Jarrett with a personal letter from the governor. It is now my honor to introduce Representative Mike Thompson, State Representative, District 33, for comments. Sir.
Figured I might have you sit down. I talk a lot. So, how this came about is Melva called me one day and said, "Can you help me?" She said, Jerry Lee had a Silver Star, but he never could get that put on his 214. We never could get the certificate. And you know, after Vietnam, a lot of the guys came back, they didn't talk about things. They didn't keep things. It was a different time. And so she said, "Can you help me?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Who can I call?" Well, I called Mike Kelly, and we'll introduce you to him. Mike Kelly says, "Who you need to call is Rob." So we called Rob, and Rob took the ball and he ran with it. And he didn't put it down, and people tried to grab it from him, but no one could get it from him. And he didn't take no for an answer. And what Melva was looking for was the certificate for the Silver Star that Jerry had won. This picture, there's Jerry on the left, and you can see a Silver Star. And then the general is presenting those, presenting the awards to him. So he got the Silver Star. But it just wasn't on the records. Now, one of the problems was that in St. Louis, they had a fire and a lot of records were destroyed. And I think I probably had records in there that are gone. So we got to work. Well, Rob got to work, and he didn't let up. And so what we were able to do, I'm going to go through what Melva was sent and real quick and show what the HRC, or the Human Resource Command, sent to her with Rob's work. First of all, Jerry had earned an Army Commendation Medal, so we were able to get that. We were able to get the new certificates of each of the medals, and these certificates are important for a service member and the medals that they receive. And then Jerry got the Air Medal. Now, I had never heard of an infantryman getting an air medal. That's kind of unusual, but that's the type of soldier Jerry was. He was in an Air Mobile Command in Air Cav, and they went into some pretty bad stuff. Then we were able to get the Bronze Star. Rob, I keep saying we, Rob was the one throwing hammers, and but we got the Bronze Star. Now, the Bronze Star, this one was given to the unit for a period of time, but its Bronze Star was given in the combat zone. Then the next one we got, this one is the Bronze Star with the V device. The V device is Valor, V for Valor, and that is during a combat situation, in bullets are flying. And I'm going to read this one. You heard Rob talk about why this state award is given. It's because of the lack of honor that Vietnam veterans were given when they came back. And this is a way to try to give them that honor. I remember stories of soldiers coming back, and they were going through the walkway at the airports and the chain link fence, and there were crowds, but they weren't welcoming them back. They were spitting on them, calling them names. Well, here's what those soldiers did in country, in Vietnam. This one is the Bronze Star with the V device. I don't know which one of us is going to go out first. For heroism in ground combat against hostile force in the Republic of Vietnam during the period of 18 March 1968 to 19 March 1968. Sergeant Jarrett distinguished himself while serving as a squad leader in Company D, 3rd Battalion Air Mobile, 187th Airborne Infantry, during combat operations near Phu Vinh, Republic of Vietnam. At approximately 1740 hours, the lead element of the company made contact with a large force of North Vietnamese Army regulars. Without a moment's hesitation, Sergeant Jarrett moved to the front of his squad and directed the retaliatory fire of his men. Although he was repeatedly exposed to hostile small arms fire, claymores, automatic weapons fire, Sergeant Jarrett courageously continued his mission. With complete disregard for his own personal safety, he moved from position to position, directing the fire and giving the medical attention to the wounded. Seeing two of his men lying 30 meters to the front that were wounded, Sergeant Jarrett moved through the deadly enemy fire and carried them to safety. Throughout the night, he continuously exposed himself to a hail of fire while controlling his men. The Sergeant Jarrett personally and bravely and devotion to duty were in the keeping of the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. So while people were bad-mouthing the soldiers coming back, that's what the soldiers were doing overseas. Now, that's just one of all of these, that type of a situation. And if you notice, that was a night battle. That was probably not over 24 hours. And now they asked if we could get the Silver Star on his 214. It wasn't on his 214. This is a 214. The 214, they even call it sailor-proof and soldier-proof. They even stamp on there, this is an important record, safeguard. And so this, if it's not on here, it being a promotion, a transfer, or anything, then it didn't happen as far as the rest of the world went. It had to be on the 214. This is a record that is kept by military people. You have it in, in a safe place. The Weiss diamonds can stay out on the dresser, but this goes in the safe. Now, Rob was able to get the Silver Star on the 214. And that, we feel like we were able to accomplish a lot. But remember what I said, not yet. Not yet. Remember I said Rob does not take no for an answer. Attention to orders. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by the Act of Congress, July 9th, 1918, has awarded the Silver Star to Sergeant Jerry Lee Jarrett, Company D, 3rd Battalion, Air Mobile, 187th Airborne Infantry, for gallantry in action from 7 October 68 to 8 October 1968 in the Republic of Vietnam, given under my hand in the city of Washington this 22nd day of August, 2023. Cynthia E. Vormuth, Secretary of the Army. Rock steady. Well, we just can't say no. You know? Melba, I want to introduce you to these gentlemen that have come. You know, you were apprehensive about going to people, so we brought people to you. You met retired Brigadier General Turner, and you met retired Lieutenant Colonel Rob Light. And so, Representative Chris Croft, who is the House Majority Leader. Chris is a veteran. I'm sorry, not Vietnam, not that old. I'm sorry, the Majority House Leader. And then Representative Ron Ellis. Ron is the chairman of the Veterans House Committee. And I'm on that committee. He puts up with it. Representative Pat Proctor. Representative Adam Turk is coming. Dr. Arthur DeGroat was also going to come, but retired Colonel Mike Kelly. There's Mike. Mike Kelly is State Representative Lead for Military Officers Association of America. The reason I want to introduce them to you is that the military, you know this, I'm not telling you anything new, is a tight community and a caring community, and they take care of each other. And when they found out about this, they wanted to come and honor Jerry and support you and your family. So this is for you. I guess sorry.
I'd like to thank Jerry. He was a wonderful councilman and a great friend of mine. I appreciate all the service he did for our country as well as our city. and your family that continues to serve this city. Thank you. We appreciate you greatly. It's a great honor to have you be the Marion Vaughn Award winners my last mayor's banquet. Also, thank you all of you gentlemen that have come to recognize this Jerry Jarrett and his family. Speaking as one who knew him a little bit, the awards he's received just are a mere token of the amount he deserves. He was a great man. And the VFW that's here this evening, thank you gentlemen for showing up and participating. We appreciate all that you've done and served our country as well. Thank you all. We're going to take a short break and we'll start our meeting in about 5 minutes. Well, I appreciate everyone's consideration for that wonderful presentation that we had this evening. And we'll move along and start the City Council meeting with citizens' concerns. Citizens' concerns that are about items not on the agenda this evening. If you'd like to stand and address the City Council in the open public meeting, these items will be considered and put on a future agenda as necessary. Is there anyone that would like to address the City Council? Seeing none, we'll move along to the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes the minutes from the September 11th City Council meeting, claims for city operations, a public use request for a block party on South Nettleton Avenue from Kindred to 2nd, and the appointments to boards and commissions. Anything to add or be taken away by the citizens? Questions? Anything to be removed by the staff? Any concerns? Questions or concerns from the council? I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Reeves and seconded by Mr. Shannon. Vote, please.
Long? Yes. Wood?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Shirley? Yes. Stevens?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Thank you. On to item number 1. An ordinance to adopt the Comprehensive Plan Update Vision 2025 and beyond. Mr. Lee.
Good evening, council members. Mark Lee, Community Development Director. We are here this evening to have the wonderful governing body adopt an ordinance to implement the new comprehensive plan. It's been revised somewhat extensively. The numbers have been completely updated. A lot of the information in there was existing, but was outdated. Made numerous changes in that area. Implemented or supplemented some of our existing master plans, especially the sewer one. In your packet was a comparison of the two plans and the information that was in the original versus what's in the new. It was rearranged a little bit. Some portions were taken out. We actually, Appendix B was the architectural design guidelines and things like that. We actually implemented that, so it came out. This has been about a year-long process. Involvement from all the departments to give me their new updated information. As we move to the end of the year, come next year, some of that information will need to be updated again. Fire and EMS were lacking in some information. Police department as well. Public Works, sanitary sewer, water infrastructure, all those things were kind of lacking since the plan was implemented. One big change, or not a big change, I guess, that didn't occur was the future land use map. Planning Commission and myself have decided, well, we didn't decide, but we need to, that has to become now a priority if this is adopted. Regardless, the one we have needs to be significantly say it. It needs to be changed. It needs to be more of a directional document instead of just a wide open, Wild Wild West type, pick your spot where you want to go. I think we need to direct development, certain development into certain areas where it can be better served. That's really what the future land use map details. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of information. We had, the planning commission and myself had several, 3, 4, 5 work sessions, as well as the public hearing that was required. We worked through many changes even once I prepared it and gave it to them. They came back to me. There was a good exchange of information and ideas, and yeah, that's the document you guys have in front of you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other staff input? No? Citizens, questions or concerns? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the updated comprehensive plan Vision 2025 and beyond.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Shannon, seconded by Mr. Stevens, and we'll ask for questions, concerns, comments, starting down here with Mr. Reeves.
None from me.
Sir.
No, just to thank you, thanks to the commission for all the hard work on this. I know it took a little time, a lot of hours to get it together, so appreciate them and yourself working this on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, thank you. That's a amazing document, so thanks for all the work on that.
Thank you.
I think you've considered so much, like attractive transition should be provided between the area and the surrounding residents. It's so important, little things like that. So thank you.
None here. Thank you, though.
Seems as though the most part of the review, the changes were primarily updating and modernizing. That appeared to me as though the intent stays very similar to what it was before.
Well, so sir, in that, as I went through it and looked at some of the goals and strategies and action plans that were put in place back then, not many of them had fallen off. So part of me was like, well, these are obviously still very valid, and most of them are, if not all of them. So we need to use this tool in a better fashion.
And I appreciate that, and I think that's the output from this is that the goals and objectives of the city that have been accumulated over many years, this update stayed true to that with the modernization and the review. And I appreciate not only your work, but the Planning Commission's work. Those volunteers do a lot, and we appreciate them and greatly rely on their input. On a side note, I got to see the first planning and zoning recommendations that were done in the late 40s, early 50s by a group from the University of Kansas Civil Engineering that was sent here to Bonner Springs. That was what the planning and zoning first looked to as a guide for the city of Bonner Springs. And you can still see some of those things that were important and more or less the legs of the ordinances of the city still a part of that, the essence. So sometime I hope to let you see that. It's surprising that it's come that long. That puts our planning and zoning, or this uniformed comprehensive plan update, the basis of that runs back probably 60, 70 years. That's quite a institutional history that we have, and continuing it, I think, is one of the strengths that we have here in Bonner Springs compared to other areas that don't and haven't planned as well. So thank you for carrying that on. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
And they were done on a typewriter, right?
This is a bound document that was sent. I'm sure it was custom tailored of many to Bonner Springs, but it's very interesting. Seeing nothing else, vote please.
Shannon?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Chip?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank
Very,
you all.
very good, thank you. Keep up the work. On to item number 2, a resolution authorizing the lease purchase agreement for an aerial fire truck. Staff? Didn't know if we were driving the fire truck in here or something.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tilly LaPlante, Finance Director. In July, the council authorized us to enter into a purchase for an aerial fire truck for an amount not to exceed $2.1 million, and to authorize our Assistant City Manager to enter into a lease agreement for that purchase. Tonight, we're asking you to approve the lease agreement with Union Bank and Trust. We looked at them and Pierce Financial, and they were the most advantageous to the city. It's a 10-year lease, and we have budgeted tonight, the council approved a $400,000 payment that was included in our 2023 amended budget, and then we budgeted $250,000 for next year. The lease payments will be about $208,000, so we're well covered with that. So this motion is to approve that lease agreement and to authorize the Assistant City Manager to sign the lease agreement for that.
Very
And
good.
the bids, the purchase price was, let's see, $2,032,178.32, but we have a $48,658 discount for prepaying that. So, because the truck is being built and it will come in the spring. So the total price was $1,009,000.
2 million. Oh.
Tilly,
Oh, great.
you hit your mic. Turn it off. There you go.
I'm sorry.
Great, 1,000,009. Any other staff?
The only thing I was just going to mention is that the funding source for this over the 10-year period is planned to be the emergency services sales tax. So that was a funding mechanism that was approved, just recently reapproved, I should say, for a 10-year period. So this does go the same length as that sales tax, quarter-cent sales tax.
Very good.
But it's less, the payments are less than that sales tax will.
Yep, yeah,
for the
absolutely. So
year.
there's still funding available for public safety regardless of this. This actually is about, probably about the same amount of money that was being paid or is currently being paid towards the fire EMS facility. So this kind of just is more or less a wash as far as impact anywhere else.
Very good. No other staff? Any citizens, questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing, that's the right one, yes, the execution and delivery of the master equipment lease purchase agreement for the fire department aerial truck between Union Bank and Trust Company and the city of Bonner Springs, and authorizing Amber Vogan, Assistant City Manager, to sign the lease agreement.
Second.
So moved by Mrs. Gurley and seconded by Mrs. Woods. Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start down here with Mr. Shannon.
No question.
It looks like a wonderful, miraculous vehicle.
Nothing here.
One
Please.
question. I'm all for the purchase of a new fire truck and everything it has on it. However, I'm in question about the lease agreement. Why a lease instead of just purchase? Is that the only way we could do it, or is that a cheaper way of doing it, or maybe some reason there might help me out a little bit?
Well, it spreads the cost over that, like Sean said, we don't have $2 million in that emergency services fund to spend on upfront for a fire vehicle. So this spreads that cost over that 10-year period, and we're able to use that emergency services sales tax. I think that quarter-cent sales tax generates about between $550,000 and $600,000 a year. So this is less than half of what that sales tax generates, but it's not enough to be able to pay for it all up front.
First sentence you said there answered my question.
Okay.
But why not a loan instead of a lease? I'm just curious, what's the difference? Do we own it at the end for $1 buyout, or is it a?
Gotta turn it back in.
Well, some do turn it back.
It may be at least,
We own, I mean, it's basically like a loan.
Some of the leases have $1 buyout at the end.
No, there's not a dollar buyout. It's set up just like a loan. We pay 2 payments a year. Like I said, that's gonna be about $208,000, where we budgeted $250, so,
So in 10 years, we will own it.
yes. And also with Union Bank, because we've got funds, with them, because we won't have the vehicle in hand, we don't have to set up an escrow. They're just gonna put a hold on the amount we're leasing until we get the fire truck, and then they'll release that hold on our funds in our account, but we're still gonna be earning interest on those funds.
other questions? No? Nothing else? Seeing none? Vote, please.
Reeves,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Hip,
Yes.
Gurley,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you, and thank you to the fire department and the citizens for the emergency services sales tax. On to item number 3, ordinance amending the pay plan.
Good evening, Amber Vogan, Assistant City Manager. You should have an updated ordinance on your dais this evening. The only change to it is in section 3 to add the word City of Bonner Springs and Bonner Springs Library employees so that it's clear that it is for both the city and the library. This is an update to our pay plan, which was first adopted in 2019. We did an update to it last year, late last year, 2022. This new update brings us more in line with the KC metro area market so that we can remain competitive in the market for all positions. And it will be effective for all new hires after it's published. And then we have in the ordinance some increases to bring current staff up to the minimums at least the minimums in the pay plan updates. Happy to answer any questions.
Very good.
The 2023, for the remainder of 2023, the salaries are covered in the budget, and then for 2024, that was part of the budget discussion, so they're covered as well.
Very good. Thank you. Any other staff? None? Questions, concerns from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the city pay plan.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Shannon and seconded by Mr. Stevens, and we'll start right here. Any questions, concerns, comments? Yes. Ma'am?
Not yet.
I just wanted to thank the staff. I know we need to try to stay competitive, and it's always tough sometimes, the marketplace, to try to, work our budgets. I watch other municipalities around here who have struggled with their budgets and fighting whether they even try to give any relief at all with no levy reduction, and at the same time fighting to give any type of pay raises. So I was glad staff was able to find a way to give a good, sizable pay raise to our employees, at the same time still take care of our constituents and give a mill levy reduction. So thank you all.
What he said.
Sir?
I can't add anything to that.
Very good, ma'am. Now do you, no? Thank you. Nothing now either, okay. Appreciate the hard work and confidence that the employees have on us. It's very important to us that we treat them fairly, and in this market, it's very difficult with all the other municipalities and private businesses to using their techniques to impact them like they have. So I appreciate it. Hopefully we can keep this up to date as best we can. All right, I'd like to have a motion, please. Or I mean a vote, please.
Wood,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Gurley,
Yes.
Kip,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you. On to item number 4, an executive session for consultation with an attorney as per KSA 75-4319B2. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to the exception for consultation with an attorney, KSA 75-4319B2, with the open meeting resuming in the council chambers at
So moved.
8:15, 8:30 minutes, at 8:45.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Reeves and seconded by Mrs. Gurley. All vote, please.
Shannon,
Yes.
Long, Wood,
Yes.
Gurley,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Kip,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
passes.
Very good. We'll reconvene at motion to resume our open meeting with no action taken.
So moved.
So moved by Mrs. Gurley and seconded by Mr. Shannon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. And the next item on the city council meeting this evening are our city managers report.
Just one thing outside the written report, I just want to follow up. We had a little bit of a conversation at our prior meeting about some undertakings with Central Park, the newest park that the city has. There is a active survey that's out there for folks to participate and give some feedback as they would like, as to what they would like to see at that park. It's still open. I think we have a little over 100 responses at this point now. You can read a lot of the comments from people on there as well, so you can kind of see where some of the direction is going on that. But again, I think it's a good opportunity to get some feedback and public engagement on an exciting new park in our community. That's all I have. Oh, and the homecoming parade is Friday at 5 o'clock, so there you go.
City council items, we'll start down here with Mr. Shannon.
I just want to say kudos to the commitment of Farmers Market. I was there for a minute when it was raining on Saturday, and, what a commitment that the people show. And Bonner still came out. I think there was a long line of cars for vaccinations for their pets, their dogs and stuff. So a lot was going on while the rain was coming down, and so that just speaks a lot for the commitment of people that live in Bonner.
Right, I agree with it.
Do we have a sign going up at Sherwin-Williams by any chance? Still see people asking about it. I can dream.
I know where to get the paint when it's ready.
I wanted to thank the library and the League of Women Voters and the Bonner chapter of the NAACP for sponsoring the candidate forum last week. It was a really great event, and we each had the opportunity to record a 1-minute statement, and those are available now. I've shared them on my Facebook page. and they're on a couple of other locations that I know. I welcome everyone to go out and hear what your people have to say.
Nothing additional?
Nothing this week.
Very good. Well, I'd like to thank all of you for being here and everyone that attended. As part of the mayor's input or report, received a lot of compliments on the city market and the whole downtown area this last week, and how nice people, nicely surprised they are when they come to our community, and how vibrant it seems, and appreciate the farmers market and all the work that goes towards that. That line and the police that help with the traffic control for that line of cars that was stretched 2 blocks away. I was really appreciative of them and how well received that was. I don't know the numbers on the animals that they helped. You know, nobody knows. Had to be a lot. I just I think it's wonderful that that's being provided in the city. So another item escapes me right now, but unless anyone has a question for me.
One minor thing, on the comprehensive plan update, Mrs. Wood is singular. She's a force to be reckoned with, but you know, she's only one person.
Wow. That is, there's going to be red marks on that. Seeing nothing else, we're adjourned.